My favored ones, welcome to Soul Talk. Our guest for today is Nilda Dionisio. She is my co-pilgrim at Life's Directions. And I also met her again sa Heroic Leadership when I took their series of workshop last month. And later, you will find out why I invited Nilda for this month's topic because our topic for this month is about motherhood, right? We're celebrating motherhood, but Nilda is still single. So we will know why I chose her to be our very special guest for today. So let's all welcome Nilda. Hi Nilda, kamusta ka?
Thank you, Brendy. Thank you for inviting me this afternoon to your session. Mabuti
Ye-
naman, tahimik. Tahimik ang lahat.
Yes. How are you? What's keeping you busy right now?
Okay. I'm an almost full-time daughter. I'm here. I call myself a barrio lass kasi I'm here in the province. I'm here in Bulacan. I'm staying with my parents since kailan ba yun? June, I think. When the ECQ was lifted, I decided to stay here with my parents in Bulacan. So I'm here. I work from home. But for the most part, I'm taking care of the house. I'm taking care of my parents' needs. So yun. Yun. Tapos I have a place in Manila, in Mandaluyong. I call it a dollhouse kasi yung condo, mukha siyang dollhouse. And I just visit the dollhouse like mga 2 to 3 days in a month na lang. Yun.
Mm. Pero ngayon talagang full-time nandyan ka sa Bulacan
Yeah,
and
90% of the time.
really taking care of all household things and
Oo.
of course your parents then.
Yes, yes. Oo. Oo.
Could you share kasi syempre because of the pandemic, 'di ba?
Mm.
It's a lot of people who are condo dwellers really move
Oo.
back to their parents' home. But
Oo.
in your case, you still chose to continue to stay there kasi ngayon magmo 1 year mark na eh, 'di ba?
Oo, right, right.
So
Why I
how were you
chose.
led? Oo, how were you led to that decision?
Ah, sige. Hmm, Sige. Background. I've always been independent. Even as a child, I've always been independent. And at 16, when I entered college, parang nag-move out na ako sa bahay kasi I was living at the dorm. And then after college, I worked. So, I was a weekend daughter lang talaga from the time I was in college. And then, um, I've been living alone at my condo for what, 15 years now, 16 years. And siguro during the GCQ, yung from March to June to May, that was the first time that I stayed at the condo na continuous na ganong time, na for continued period of time, na for 3 months. Kasi siguro I'd be staying there like during the week when there's work. But that's it. Siguro mga longest stay ko at the condo, continuous would be 2 weeks. Kasi every weekend, I make it a point to go home to Bulacan, to be with my parents. And then, during the pandemic nga, yun nga, at the start, I chose to stay there kasi I knew I'd be working from home. And mahina yung signal, yung internet dito sa Bulacan at that time. So I said, I better stay at the condo. But then, the 3 months alone, hindi naman sa naging lonely, but syempre, you have time for muni-muni, ganyan. And there was I remember one time, we had a kwentong buhay session. It was like one of your prayer meetings and faith sharing, but ito, we call it kwentong buhay. And the question was parang, what's your deep desire? And I realized yun nga, parang my deep desire is to be a child. Parang yun nga, to be a child kasi I felt like I was already mature even as a as a high school student. My titas and my parents would be giving me assignments that would you'd normally give to an adult. Parang they were treating me like my titas and titos would treat me like I'm their youngest sister. Mga ganun tipo. So parang I didn't feel but also yun ano ba yun? Basta yun. So that's my deep desire to be a child. And yun, hindi naman ako lonely kasi syempre I would FaceTime with them, I would call them, I would text them. But there's still that yearning. So, nung nag-ease na yung restrictions when it was already GCQ, I decided to go home to Bulacan, syempre, to visit them. And then, nagulat lang din ako kasi parang the 3 months that I didn't see them, parang they've aged. Siguro dahil hindi nakakapagpa-parlor mommy ko at nag-white hair na siya. They've, parang in my eyes, they've aged. Plus, I guess it's parang a symptom already of yung cabin fever na ganyan na they were feeling some symptoms na when I consulted the doctor, hindi naman serious or parang ganun. So parang mga asymptomatic or not asymptomatic, ano ba yan? Psychosomatic. Pero but yun lang. But I understand, parang sige, let's take care of this, ganyan. So I would do consultations with their doctors kasi hindi nila alam paano gawin before na pwede pala yung teleconsult. Di ba? Parang no one to guide
Yes.
them.
Oo.
So yun, and then so ang plano ko was to stay for 2 weeks, and then nung bumalik ako sa dollhouse, I realized parang wala naman akong masyadong gagawin dito. I'd be more helpful. I'd be more if I stay with them. And yun nga, parang unti-unti, parang feeling ko, 1 week diretso and then 2 days sa dollhouse. And then hanggang humaba na siya na I'd be staying for weeks and for months already na yun nga, na halos hindi na ako lumalabas. At also because I wanted to protect them na I don't want to expose myself na as much as possible. Parang the things that I can do from home, I do from home. Yung ganyan. So, yun. And then, yun lang. And then I realized na, yun nga, and they also verbalize it that they loved having me here. Ganon. So, una, masaya-saya. Pero bandang huli, I realized na, finally, eto na yung ko na to be a child. But, at this point, para, syempre yung child, hindi ka lang yung nurture ka lang, inaalagaan ka lang. Later on, you realize that a child has responsibilities to the parents also. And, yun nga, and because my parents are aging, my parents are 79, so, parang there's a call also. Parang yung, syempre, yung nangyayari na yung reversal of roles na you're taking care of them. And, yun. And I was praying about it and what should I do? Kasi parang, syempre, if I'm in Manila, there'd be a lot more opportunities. But, yun lang, parang, what was clear to me was that I wanted my parents to feel the love and the care at this point, not when they can't remember anything or not when they can't recognize you anymore. I want them to feel that. Kasi parang na-realize ko, yun nga parang in all the years na weekend daughter ako, na uwi ako ng Saturday, alis ako ng Sunday, like, they'd be asking me pa, like, anong gusto mong kainin? Anong gusto mong i-prepare? At pagdating dito sa bahay, para kang prinsesa na you're not doing anything kasi di ba there are people who'll do the work for you. So parang, this time, it's different because we have no help in the house. Kasi we just have live out help who comes in like twice or thrice a week. So yun. So now, parang, biglang domesticated ang lola mo. But, ayun lang, mahirap at the start. But when I think that I'm doing it for my parents and I'm, yun nga, parang that's ano for me. That's enough for me. Yun.
Parang ano, yung reversal of roles ang
Oh,
nangyari.
mm-mm,
I relate to that in some ways because, of course, well, my parents are still in their 60s, but
mm-mm,
they're aging. I'm just
mm,
lucky that my siblings are staying with them sa
oo,
house. So
oo,
I am not that, alam mo yon, worried that they're lonely.
oo, yeah, oo,
There's three a sibling or
mm-mm,
two or three siblings andun sila. So I am
mm-mm,
grateful that ganun yung setup and I'm allowed
mm-mm,
at least freely to
oo,
stay here at my my dollhouse rin. Ganun eh. Pero
right.
what do you love best about um caring for your parents? What are the values that you appreciate right now?
It's really ano, simple joys. But uh it's really just enjoying the time with them, appreciating them. And I think one of the bakit ako naiiyak, no? But I think one of the important things for them at this point is to have someone to listen to their stories. I see myself, parang yung mga kwentuhan namin, and I realize, parang yun na, more and more, they're talking about, oh, nung araw, this is what we used to do. Oh, nung maliliit kayo, ganito. Oh, nung bata pa kami, ganyan. And these stories are important kasi parang this shaped them and in turn parang it has shaped me also because parang it played a part, 'di ba, dun sa how they turned out and they're passing it on to me. Plus, yung ano, yung importance nung ano, yung oral tradition sa family na passing on the story, 'di ba? Passing
Oo,
the stories
ganda
to the
yan.
next generation. And I'm hearing stories talaga na first time, yung for the first time, and about my grandparents, about what their life was before. So now I can understand them better because this is what they went through. Parang ganon. So, some of it, of course, alam ko yung major gist, but there are details that I'm not aware of before. So yun sa akin, ano, very valuable sa akin yung time. Kahit na 30 minutes a day lang siya na or over dinner or over lunch. Basta, or meron talaga kaming ano, na parang while we're monitoring pag ano kasi, we monitor their BP sa morning, gabi. Eh sa gabi, syempre may intervals yan. So habang gano'n, nagkukwentuhan kami. Yun, so at yun lang, na-appreciate ko din seeing how the dynamics of my parents na even at this old age, kasi parang my friends, they're telling me sobrang nasa-stress sila sa parents nila because laging nag-aaway. Parang gano'n, nasa bahay, laging nag-aaway. My parents are not like that. So parang ako, wala akong sakit ng ulo sa parents ko. Ganon. So, natutuwa lang ako na parang like last night, I went inside their room and I see them, nakahiga na sila, nanonood sila ng TV, but they're still holding hands. So, those little things I really appreciate and parang mas naano ko yung parents ko, seeing how they are at saka yung ano, yung talagang friends talaga sila. So, I love seeing that. Yun lang. Tapos, they're very appreciative also of the things that I do for them. Like, when I cook and parang, kasi ako, I make sure that healthy yung ano, the preparation and the ingredients are healthy and ganyan. I didn't used to cook ha, parang, but I was ano lang, alalay ng lola ko before sa kitchen. But now I'm cooking full time. Di ba? Imagine mo yon. But they appreciate. Kasi mahilig din ako kumain. So, masarap naman akong magluto. And they appreciate. And their, ano, pagkausap nila may titas and their friends, ganyan. They would say, oh, she made ganito and it's really masarap. Ang dami nga namin nakain. Oh, next time I'll ask her to make this for you because it's really good. Ganyan. So, may ano naman, talagang natutuwa ako kasi they really appreciate it. And yun nga, parang like my mom, when I take care of their medical needs, mga ganyan-ganyan, na parang, oh, buti na lang, ganyan-ganyan, kasi nandito ka, kasi otherwise, parang sinong pupuntahan namin? The kwento kasi is, we're three children. I'm the eldest. I'm the only girl. My brothers are married. One is in the States. One lives in another town. And my parents have always been independent also, except that now when I see them, syempre different na talaga. Mas mabagal na maglakad, mas yung ganon. So, may limitations na. And plus, nasashock ako yung nakikita ko na parang my mom, talagang she was reaching for something sa cupboard. And nakatayo siya sa silya. And I was like, my God, parang why do you do that next time? You make sure that there's someone with you. Or better yet, ask that someone to do it for you. Kasi parang syempre, you hear of the horror stories of older people falling, breaking bones and stuff. And yung mga ganon na parang I can't bear to, parang hindi ko talaga maisip na parang if that would happen, hindi ko kaya na parang hindi niyo pwedeng gawin yan. So yung ganun lang. Parang syempre it's also helping them realize na even if they think they can do it physically, there are certain limitations already, di ba? Na parang kahit kaya ng tuhod mo, baka biglang mahilo ka, ma-out of balance or something might happen. So yung mga ganon. And I think that's one of the graces also is parang, kasi ako, I'm 53. So at this stage, parang the three of us are facing our mortality together. Yung ganon. Parang I think that's important also. Na parang doing it with your parents and helping them transition. Kasi parang sometimes the mind wouldn't let you accept whatever physical limitations there are. Di ba? Parang that talagang eyesight is changing, the hearing is deteriorating. Parang it's just difficult to accept that sometimes. But if yun lang, parang you just have to parang do it little by little with them and yun nga, helping them transition lang to and helping them recognize that there are changes already and they shouldn't be overexerting. But yun lang. But of course, syempre dapat careful ka pa rin that they don't feel like disempowered, di ba? Parang you have to let them pa rin, do things na ganyan, be independent, be productive, pero reduced siguro. Yon. Anyway.
Oh, I love what you said that spending time with them, enjoying time, the
Oh,
kwentuhan, it somehow heals you as well because you hear their stories and have a deeper understanding of what they went through, what
yes.
your
Oo.
grandparents went through. So, and of course, when you take care of them and they show appreciation, that's all the more satisfying
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
for you. There's that
mm-mm,
level of fulfillment as well that
mm-mm.
you're giving.
Yes,
So
true.
I love what you're what you're sharing right now. And um actually this is also what I wanted to express to everyone who's watching this, that hindi naman talaga porket single, hindi na pwede maging nurturing, loving, or di ba? The aspects of being a mom, it's all there in us, and it just needs to be placed in certain situations so that it would manifest itself, so that it would express itself outwards. And I
Right.
love that Nilda really chose to stay with her parents and to care for them, help them transition in life. Kasi it's true, mahirap naman talaga tanggapin ang limitations when we're getting older. And it's really heartbreaking when we see our parents aging before our eyes. Sometimes
Oo.
we don't recognize it eh. Pero when we realize it, parang, oh my gosh, ang laki ng tinanda. Parang ganon.
Oo, true.
I can relate to that. Pero eh, how about you naman? Kasi I know that you find fulfillment in caring for them. But where do you see yourself at this point in your journey? Kasi
Ay,
you came from
corporate.
work, 'di ba?
Oo.
Corporate, and then nag-shift, biglang domesticated, and then
Oo.
helping out your parents. In what way did your image of yourself change or evolve?
Ay naku, ang dami. Hindi. Paano ba? Lots of inner conversations and uh, arguments going on sa akin sa sarili. Questions, mga fears, and like, ito na ba talaga yung gagawin ko? Am I retired at 53? Parang, ano na ba yung mission ko? Ito na ba yon my parents? Parang wala na bang iba? Wala na bang bigger social impact or whatever? There's always that, and I just have to constantly remind myself, ano yung parang, I have to check what my motivations are, what why am I asking these questions, and it boils down still to certain attachments, ni ganyan, na parang syempre, when you have a corporate career, there's prestige tied to it, the financial rewards, yun. But I'm thinking, I've done that for 28 years already. Um, Kasi those 28 years that I was building my career, I was parang trying to achieve things at work. Uh, those were years na yung expression of love ko for my parents is really in terms of financial support and parang providing for their needs, etc. But I'm not present. So parang now, the gift is the presence. So parang I just have to bring myself to that point na always remind myself na I'm a gift to my parents, and parang they've done a lot for me. They've sacrificed a lot for me. They've given me so much love, and it's time to let them feel that love back. That let them feel that I'm caring for them. Yun lang, napaka simple. Although there's still a lot of fears na parang, whatever I have in my savings, will that be enough when I grow old? And what have you? Or, yun, questions like that. Usually, financial concerns. But, siguro learning to trust lang, 'di ba? Parang that's what God says eh. Parang look at the, 'di ba? Parang the parang just trust and tawag dito. That and nawawala ako. But yun lang, going back, parang what am I called to do? Parang lang, bring me back to that question that what am I called to do at this point? And it's like God has led me to this point. The circumstances call for it. Stay there. The call is to be a daughter. And so I'm here. I'm trying to be faithful to that call. But there are struggles talaga na parang kasi, yun nga, one thing, hindi talaga ako sanay na hindi lumalabas ng bahay. Hindi ako sanay that I'm doing all this stuff. Before yung mga pag may occasions and I would cook. there will be at least one or two people helping me with the preparations. Now I'm doing it all. Yung mga ganon. But, pero kaya naman eh. Nakakaya naman eh. So, anong problema mo? Anong reklamo mo? Parang ganon. Kala ko ba gusto mong maging, you want to be a child. So now, feel the responsibilities. But of course, parang, God is parang God is loving me through this call also because my parents are talagang the closest image of God that I have at this point. Parang, yun. So, so that's what keeps me faithful to that call. Na parang, oo, listen, sige, sumunod ka na. Yun, very clear sa akin. So, yun. But, yun lang. So, sige, kung may iba ka pang desires at may iba ka pang mangyari sa buhay mo, maybe at some point, it will come and that can, I might have to make other choices. But, at this point, clearly, ito yung choice. Parang, nandito talaga yung call. So, I'd stay.
Ano, I really love your sharing or your story. Somehow, I can visualize myself also going through it, maybe in some future time. Pero one question that pops into my mind because you were in corporate for 28 years and the mindset in corporate is really different compared to a person who is staying at home and caring for the family. What helped you,
What?
what helped you prepare to stay put?
One is that okay. So ever since I was a child, I've been trying to overachieve. And sa school, at dala-dala mo yun hanggang magtrabaho ka. And I guess at some point, I became tired of trying to achieve, of trying to compete, of trying to parang of trying to play politics at work. It's just that parang at some point I was getting tired and I always keep a journal and parang my question is always parang what's life giving? 'Di ba? Parang during the day, what was the most life giving moment for you? What was the most ayun, parang So, yung pattern is really ay klaro sa akin na parang I want to mentor people, I want to teach people, I want to develop people. But outside of that, napapagod ako trying to, syempre in a way, di ba, parang yung setting pa kasi global, di ba? So your colleagues are in other parts of the world and you have to keep pace, di ba? And they can be very competitive. Some of them can be very competitive. And that's not me. So yun, so that's one. Plus, sa akin, talaga, kasi after I left corporate, I had an opportunity to work with friends doon nga sa consultancy, doing management consultancy, facilitate workshops, ganun. And parang we're catering to different industries, people, different businesses. And I found it, parang I found life there na parang it was more, it's not as financially rewarding, but in terms of creating an impact in people's lives, in businesses, small, big, whatever. Parang I find that very life-giving for me. And yun na, I was thinking, we're so blessed kasi during the pandemic, parang when when a lot of work has stopped or parang actually konti lang yung work but we're still able to do work that's meaningful, that's impactful and significant. So parang ako, I'm thankful for that. So yun, parang there's a different or parang you're looking for something different eh. Parang it's not just the prestige and the rewards of that the corporate life offers. So, yun din. And I think yun yung that's what I'm realizing also kasi parang the first half of my life or the first two-thirds, I don't know. Teka. Si Mayela naririnig natin. Baka you can mute her, Brent. But anyway, what I'm realizing is that
Mute
parang
siya.
yun nga, the first half of life, parang it's all about expanding yourself and parang your reach and But at this point, I think the direction, the inclination, the call is deepening. 'Di ba? Parang instead of branching out, it's really deepening the roots, yung being rooted. Yun, parang hindi na siya yung parang ganon. Yun yung sense ko sa nangyayari, yung direction ko ngayon.
I think
So,
I'm getting what you're saying. There was a phase in your time when actually part rin yun ng life cycle, like, di ba?
yeah,
There's really
exactly.
a phase in our time when we want to expand our territories. We want to
Oo.
achieve, we want to make an
Correct.
impact. But
Oo.
then there comes a point when, okay, this is already tiring, or the direction
Oo.
is shifting. God is already calling you for
Oo.
something else.
Oo.
And ito yung binigay sa'yo
Oo.
na, na ano,
Yun.
na situation, di ba? This is what you're being called to right now.
Mm-mm.
And you're right when you said that it's deepening the roots
Mm-mm.
because you're back your parents and you're deepening the relationship, and then you're
Mm-mm.
also preserving in some ways the oral
Mm-mm.
traditions, the
Mm-mm.
stories, diba? And
Mm-mm.
that's very life-giving as well.
Mm-mm.
It's very life-giving and
Oo.
ano, ang galing. Parang nag-ano lang siya. You just follow the flow. I know that, you're also a very analytical person. You're a thinker, and there's also a part of you that's resisting. But then once you break that resistance, sige, sige Lord, sunod ako. Ito
Oo.
yung direction, then
Oo.
go. I
Oo.
can I get you what
Oo.
you're trying to say.
Oo.
Pero ito, last
Thank
question
you.
kasi
Oh.
I I can feel that you're very, very self-aware and very discerning. You ask yourself so many questions,
Oo.
and I believe it's also a characteristic of an alumni of LD na
Oo.
comfortable with the questions, diba? But then
Yes,
very
correct.
discerning.
Oo.
In your case, how are you really able to align to the will of God and to answer the calling? Yung following your heart, knowing your truth. Kasi 'di ba, at the end of the day naman, it's always God's will that will
Mm-mm.
prevail.
Mm-mm.
And whatever is God's will,
Mm-mm.
it's actually your calling, what
Oo.
what your mission in life is.
Oo.
So align siya with your heart and your truth. How
Yeah.
how do you align to that to that space?
It's a process and it can be a difficult and it can be a very very long process because our question is always what's God's will for me. And it's always parang it's not always easy to discern to know that, 'di ba? Yung parang talagang processing discernment. Would have been easy if it's parang you wake up and there's a writing on the wall na oh Nilda, this is what I'm calling you to do. But it's not that eh. I think that's the beauty also of our relationship with God na parang God allows you allows you to make that choice, di ba? So, kung nagtatalo man yung sa loob ko, may pagtatalo man na nangyayari, lalabas at lalabas pa rin kung ano yung maigting or yung matindi na desire. Mangingibabaw pa rin yun. And when at times when those would seem like, naisip ko lang yun, o baka ako lang yun, si God ba talaga? Parang ganon. May mga ganon. But I'm thinking parang itong si God na kilala ko, yung honor naman niya kung ano yung desire ko din, di ba? Na God's will for me. Parang, at sa kaloob-looban, my desire, as you said, my desire is God's desire for me also. God just wants me to be happy. God just wants me to be loving. And but malaking tulong nga yung prayer at yung prayer na nananahimik ka, na nakikinig ka dun sa mga tanong at nananahimik lang, nahihintayin mo lang na may sabihin ng Diyos. Na minsan wala. Na minsan ang tagal mo nang nakatahimik. O na, di ba? Parang yan eh. Kaya sanay tayo dyan sa waiting game. Ano na ba, God? But one thing that helps me really is, yung journaling lang, di ba? Parang, what's life-giving for me? That's my favorite question talaga kasi, what is this life-giving for me? And, di ba, makikita mo kasi yung pattern eh. Over several days, over several weeks, over months, and over the years. Makikita mo talaga yung pattern na yung trend, kumbaga, na kahit minsan lumiliko-liko, there's just that one direction. And yun, that's how you know it's God's will. And when you find peace doing that, yung peace na kahit na may pagtatalo pa rin, there's acceptance, there's surrender na parang, Lord, you're calling me to do this at this point in my life. There are struggles, so you have to be with me. You have to make sure that I feel your presence during these times that I'm struggling. Yung ganun lang. And makulit kasi yung dynamics namin ni God. Yung favorite image ko, yung parang bata. Yung parang, alam mo yung kids when they try to box na ganyan, hawak-hawak sa ulo, tapos nagpupumiglas kang ganyan. May ganun
Yung
na
parang
dynamics
bully,
kami.
yung nakahawak dito,
nakahawak
tapos
lang na ganyan to keep you still, but you're struggling. So parang ganun kami ni God. Si God yung hand na ganyan that's keeping me still, and I'm the one struggling and trying to wriggle myself out of that of that hold. Yung ganun. Pero I guess God really knows my heart, and He knows also to let me just keep asking those questions, because in those questions I eventually find the answer naman. So yun.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes time, di ba? Pero minsan binibigay agad.
Oo. Tapos may issue pa ako
matter of
nun.
patience.
Sabi ko pa, paano yun? Pag nagdadasal ako, how do I know that that's God telling me, and or that's my heart speaking, not my head? Parang gano'n. So sabi nung isang friend namin na pare, Nilda, parang God knows that you're a head person. So imposible ba sa Diyos na pumasok sa'yo through your head, not through the heart? Kasi, di ba, parang yun ang gumagana sa'yo. Diyan papasok sa'yo si God. So, just allow it and let it be. And if you feel that it's God, then it's God. Parang gano'n.
Yes.
So,
Mag-a-align naman lahat eh.
Oo,
It comes really
eventually.
from God.
Yung convergence at yung alignment. Oo.
Thank you so much, Nilda, for sharing your insights. Of course it does. Of course it does. Saka we never know until when you are called to do this. Kasi ang calling na landas niya. Parang it's dynamic. You know, God would call you whenever, wherever. At kung ano man ang situation, dun ka talaga dadalhin. Dun ka talaga dadalhin eh. And there's no time frame for the calling. So, I really admire you for going back home, and I know you're enjoying being a child, but then realizing that a child also has responsibilities. That's also something else. So I honor that and I admire that in you. And thank you for sharing this beautiful story.
Thank you for giving me this space to babble and just blurt out whatever's whatever's in my head.
No, sometimes naman 'di ba, parang one of my LD alumni rin, LD alumni din. She said that my stories are not really my stories, it's God's stories.
Correct.
So it's sometimes it's really meant to be, verbalized and to be
Shared.
told, oo,
Yeah.
to be shared.
Yeah.
So that's something that really stuck inside of. So Karen, actually itong Soul Talk, it's almost, using the same concepts as LD,
Mm-mm.
using the stories of people to
Mm-mm.
learn new things.
Mm-mm.
Ayun, but really grateful for your time and of course
Mm-mm.
your presence here with us. So for those who are going to watch this, remember that you're highly favored and really blessed. And if you're called to do something, sometimes there's nothing wrong in following. You'd be surprised with how beautiful that journey is going kahit na may mga doubts ka sa
Oo.
sarili.
That's so true. And if you parang choose to respond generously and faithfully, there's so much peace and there's a different kind of joy talaga. Parang different kind of happiness and fulfillment inside.
Yes, so truly beautiful. Thank you again, Nilda, and
Thank you for giving me this space, Brendy. And it was nice
I,
sharing with you.
I enjoyed this conversation. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you. You're
So
welcome.
for the favored ones, so God bless everyone. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as well. I'll see you again next week. So take care, everyone.